Hi everyone, this is Niyami Denmother of EQ2 Traders Corner with the first of what will hopefully be several overland tours for the Blood of Luclin expansion. Specifically, this tour is going to be for those who are running around on foot, generally crafters, who haven't finished the signature line so they don't have their flight ability yet. This will hopefully show you a few of the landmarks so you can get used to them and give you some travel tips as well to make life a little bit easier on you when you're out there. So first off, I've already unlocked access to the blinding, which is the Luclin zone. It is accessible from Wizard Spires and only Wizard Spires once you have unlocked it. The unlock will be account-wide once this goes live. It is not account-wide on beta, so each and every individual is having to unlock it. But for live, you will only need to do the Prelude quest, either the Adventure or Trade Skill version, on one character on the account, and then a tiny little starter bit, and you are out here in the blinding. And where you land is Grieg's Spire. And yes, I have some extra landscape being eaten up by function keys and things like that. I'm specifically not hiding my UI because I will want to show you some mob targeting stuff as well. So this will give you a better idea for landmarks. So you land up here. This is a little travel bug that will take you down to Rikuso Tor. We will come back to him in a bit. You will be speaking on the trade skill line with this barbarian, Noonian Wolfbane, so that's where he hides. The other thing I want to show you while we're still up here at Grieg's Spire is that's the spiral staircase down. I'm not taking it down yet, but that is where it is. I want you to be aware of it. You are going to need float, glide, feather fall, something of the like. I am actually using my Jan Magi illusion from last expansion because your mounts will not have adjusted to the lunar atmosphere, and they decide that, well, they're lighter now, they don't want to fly quite yet. They want to get their bearings and figure out how to fly in this odd place, so they will not fly for you. I'm going to stand here and stare in this general direction because that will have a named aggro specter at the top of that peak that I'm staring at. There, we'll give you a better stare at it. So up in there will be one aggro named specter. Other than that, though, this top part of the blinding, you can see where my red arrow is. That whole orange area, other than that one, is non-aggro. We're going to go there first because that is one of the first places you will need to do on your crafting line, and I also want to show you a zone line that's up there to the Racklands. So we'll do all of this upper area, and then it's a drop down into the lower area, and the only way to get back up once you're down is to either evac or use that zone mount that I just pointed out, the bug. So I'm floating, I'm just going to bypass a lot of this. These are all non-aggro in here other than that one named that I mentioned that wasn't up, so I'm not going to show you it. So I'm gliding along. As you can see, there's some nodes here and there, but all of these guys are non-aggro, which is good because, well, they're kind of ugly and grumpy and you don't want to deal with them. And most of the specters are also non-aggro. It's just that one that you need to worry about, but we're going to ignore that right now. Down here you find non-aggro rock hoppers. This area will be where you will find your rock hopper eggs for rock hopper egg omelet. You'll also find a lot of nodes here because you're going to need the nodes to get the other ingredients for the omelet and so forth. But this is all non-aggro, shinies, page drops, nodes. These are annoying little fellows that will make you think from a distance that you're going after a node, and you're not. You're going after a mob. They're the badger butts of the expansion. Yes, I've tried harvesting them several times. It does not work. So as you can see, page drops. And this whole orangey area is all that non-aggro. It's good for harvesting. I'm going to stop about here. I'll show it to you on the map. This is to the Racklands. That would be where in EQ1 the gray and so forth are located. And we will go there another time, but that is the way to get there, is to jump from Grieg Spire and then just go east. And then when you get far enough on that path, you will just go poof because you've zoned. You can see about where they stopped is about where the zone line is. They're getting their bearings, and off into the distance they go. But it is only available by foot, other than one quest step in the trade skill line that'll dump you there. But that's another story altogether. Okay. Since, as I said, this top area, you can only get back up to Grieg Spire by evac or by the zone mount, I'm going to show you the other way down. And listen to my voice all frog up. So I'm heading south. And as you can see, it's quite a drop down. Those beautiful blue bits in the distance there are part of Rakuso Tor. But I'm not jumping down here yet because I want to show you one other thing that you will want for the crafting line. And it's a spot where you don't necessarily have to invis, but you are going to be jumping over aggro. So I just want to show you how that works as far as one of the first steps where you need to go find the Nar Hive. So I'm about where that player is. I'm headed over to there. I will show you on the map again, so you can see where the red dot is. And then those yellow bumps are where you're going to need to check out some things for the Shiknar cave. So I'm just kind of base jumping a little over to here. That area down below leads to the Nar Hive. One of your steps will be to investigate. Before you have to go in, you have to investigate, and you can just glide over it. And once you get to a certain spot, all those aggro bugs and everything, you float over them, but right about here you would get the update to investigate it. And your investigation is basically, yep, those are aggro, and keep on going, because you really don't want to get munched by them if you're a squishy. So that puts you over to here. I'm going to run this way for a moment. This area down below is non-aggro, but up there you will find that you have aggro bugs and so forth. This sandier area is just little harvesting stuff without the aggro. Because what I want to show you next, this is the zone bug from Rakuso Tor over to here. It will also go back, of course. The Rakuso Tor one, which I will show you in a bit, goes to both the spire up above and this spot here, which is Seru's Ascent. Because this right here is the entrance to Sanctus Seru. The guards are non-aggro, but they are epic. You really don't want to accidentally hit them. And then that door is the zone into Sanctus Seru, plus a couple of Sanctus Seru instances. If we go back to this little spot here, you can see there's two paths. This path, which we will not take right now, leads to the Aurelion Coast. That is another chunk, and I will be doing that tour later on. I want to get finished with the blinding first. Rather than take the zone bug, because I want you to know how to do this so that you can dodge mobs and you can see what mobs there are, I'm going to head back down into the sandy area, point out some aggro, point out some ways around or through, all of that fun stuff. So you come back down here. There's some good harvesting, but you're going to have to watch because there are the bugs, the Shiknar. There are greater sand grabbers, which have a nice little knock-up on top of everything else. And then there are aggro rock hoppers. There are some fish down in the water down there. The plants in the water are non-aggro, but you've got to get past all the sand grabbers and the rock hoppers. And you can wall run and avoid most of this. I'm going to just run between them, though. And up to here. This plateau is all non-aggro. That's not the plateau. That's your last aggro bug. But once you're up here, you've got non-aggro Zelniacs, our wonderful little flightless bird things. Plus you've got a decent amount of harvesting that you can pick and choose from up through here. And I'm going to get you another view so that you can see where it's a good place to leap if you're headed over to Rakuso Tor. You can mostly avoid a lot of the aggro if you jump from there. And I will show you that in a moment because I want to jump over this way instead. This direction, which is north, I'll show you on the map. You're headed for the Dawdling Pools. And this is all non-aggro. There's golems and plants and things like that, but there's also harvesting around. And there's more fish in here. The ridges up here are good for ores and metals, things like that. Soft metal, or I can word, really I can. There's a lot of little nooks and crannies and things like that. And all of that is climbable. The issue is that you cannot get back up north to Grieg Spire from here on foot. You're just going to have lots and lots and lots of rocky stuff that you're not going to get all the way up. You don't even need to try, I'm telling you. Been there, tried that. You will need either the zone mount or you will need to evac or gate or whatever. Now I'm going south again because I want to show you Rakuso Tor. That will be an important spot for you as a crafter because there will be a researcher down here as well. One of 3 public researchers that you will be accessing, that you will need to access for the trade skill line. Now I'm going to wall hug because if I had glided from up on that plateau up, I would have probably gone and bumped into that dread horror up there. So I'm just kind of a little wary. You can just kind of dodge the rock heads and so forth. There's a decent amount of roots and shrubs in this area. Here is your zone mount that is misbehaving at the time. Normally it will say to Grieg Spire and to Seru's Ascent. Right now, because it's misbehaving, all it will do is bring you up to to Grieg Spire. It will not take you back to that Seru zone line. You will have to do that on foot if the bug misbehaves. Theoretically, the bug will be behaving tomorrow and the next day and so on and so forth. It is not right now. And I started running off on autopilot. Let me just let you look at this a little bit. This is part of Rakuso Tor. That is this entire little area with the 3 buildings that have blue domes on them. I love that shade of blue and green and so forth. It is 3 buildings. And the final building is up here with that pretty little stained glass effect. So that's very nice. But this first one down by the zone mount is where your researcher is going to be. And that is this lady here, Dani the Right. She's a public researcher. Has some stuff going right now on beta, but that of course will be different once it goes live. And the vendor that goes with her, Kermie Hill Flipper, and he sells things. And that currency is from the researcher. Each of the 3 researchers has their own currency for buying items and recipes and so forth. So that, in a nutshell, is basics of maneuvering around the blinding. I will do Sanctus Seru next, I assume, and then we'll go from there to do Aurelion Coast and the Racklands. I hope this helps a few people.